So it was the budget on Wednesday. It's a pretty big day in the world of politics, but it's even more so at the moment because of the current economic problems. So everyone was kind of like waiting to hear about the budget, more about how much we're in debt rather than the policies that came out of it. And it turns out we're in a lot of debt.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed that they're doing a big push to try and get young people back into employment. They're sinking a couple of billion nearly into improving the job centre, which I know either yourself personally or I know people that we all know have had to deal with the job centre, and it's a real pain a lot of the time. I mean, do you think this money, extra money, is going to make any difference, or?
I don't think you can just throw money at a problem and expect it to go away, can you? It's going to all depend on how they decide to spend the money in there. And I mean, I was watching Prime Minister's Question Time not so long ago, and there was a big argument between Gordon Brown and Nick Clegg, the Lib Dem leader, over how much difference this is actually going to make, because the government's already claimed to have made so many more new jobs for young people, but there's no sign of any of them being in there. So you had a question there of whether you can actually trust this latest promise of upgrading the job centres, because the existing promise they've made hasn't worked.
Exactly, because I mean, it's all very well and good sort of sinking money into the job centre, but if there's no new jobs for the job centre to direct people to, I don't see how that's going to solve the problem at all.
I heard that one of the policies was that in January 2010, if someone under 25 has been out of employment for a year, they're going to be offered jobs or training. But the thing is, there aren't any jobs to be offered. So it's great saying that, but practically, they're going to get offered training if that's even available. So I feel like they're promises that they can't actually keep.
The worrying thing about that one, that actually sounds a bit like Hitler's employment policy when he first came to power. Any unemployed German was put to work building new motorways, building railways, manual labour. Very honourable idea, and it certainly lifted German unemployment levels. But if the Prime Minister is taking examples from that period of history, I can see a lot of eyebrows being raised, frankly.
I know that they're opening up 50,000 new jobs in social care for young people, which is all very well and good.
What does it mean by social care? What kind of
I'm not
jobs are
entirely sure.
those?
I'd imagine it's stuff like kind of social workers, care, working care homes, that sort of thing. Which, I mean, I have to double check that, but that's certainly the way it read to me. And I mean, that's all very well and good, but I know there's a lot of people that aren't going to want to do those kind of jobs. I mean, I know at the end of the day it's a tough time and people have got to take what they can, but I think it's a bit dangerous to lead a lot of young people down that route when they first graduate or first hit the job market, being channeled down a career path they're not particularly interested in, so that when hopefully the economy does revive itself a little bit, they'll be very much in a career path that they might not necessarily want, or their particular skills might not lend themselves to, but they've been sort of channeled down this route. I mean, I can understand it's a good way of bolstering, a sector that is horribly understaffed. But it would have been better, I think, if they could have spread the creation of these new jobs around a few different areas.
I mean, social care is quite an important job, and if you don't really want to do it or you're not really interested in it, it's kind of dangerous. You might get more cases, as we've had in the past, about like problems in the care system, and you wouldn't really want that. I think kind of shoving people in a direction they don't want to go in isn't going to be good for them and good for the industry.
I mean, that you could get a saving grace in that people might discover that they actually quite like it, and they'd only find that out because of doing this program. They hadn't thought of it before. But I think you probably have more luck if you sort of put them in a different range of careers as part of this program. So if they did sort of 2 months doing social care, 2 months doing construction work, 2 months doing whatever, and give them a flavour of each, and that you'll probably have them arrive at a more sort of informed decision rather than just, as you say, channeling them down one particular path. If you can present a range of options to them, they're going to have more choice, and also any employer who they put on their CV, well, as part of this program I did this, and this. Is it? Oh right, well he's got a grounding in so many types of work. He might be more useful to us then. I think that's probably the better way to do things.
I guess the downside with that is it's a real pain in the arse for the employers to have a constant revolving rota of people coming in for a couple of months. Just when they're starting to pick it up, they piss off and do something else, which isn't really any good to anyone.
I mean, we're going to have more and more, like the unemployment figures came out the other day, I think, and they got a lot higher. And this summer, we're going to have lots more people graduating from uni, finishing school. And there's going to be so much more young people trying to enter the job market, but without any real opportunity. So I think it's only going to get worse, like concerning young people trying to get jobs. And I don't really think the policies from the budget are actually going to help that much.
No, I mean, another worrying thing about the budget is the amount of money the government's going to borrow to actually get us through this crisis. How are we going to repay all this money? There was something like £175 billion worth or something we're going to borrow from the International Monetary Fund. That leaves all of the next generation with this huge amount of debt to pay off. Where are we going to get it all if no one's employed?
It is the young people that are going to bear the brunt, I think, of this economic crisis, and it's a bit of a shame because it obviously isn't us that have helped to create it.